Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle is a name synonymous with compassion, humility, and a commitment to making the Catholic Church more inclusive and accessible. His leadership style, which blends profound spiritual depth with modern-day sensibilities, has not only captured the attention of the Catholic world, but has also influenced many beyond the religious sphere. As the prefect of the Vatican's Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples, Tagle's voice has become one of the most influential within the global Church. But beyond his role in the Vatican, it is his personal commitment to service and his deep understanding of humanity that sets him apart as one of the most admired figures in the Catholic world. A journey rooted in humility and service. Cardinal Tagle's path to prominence is one deeply rooted in the Catholic tradition of humility and service. Born in the Philippines, Tagle grew up in a family that emphasized not just the importance of faith, but also its practical application in everyday life. His early experiences in the Philippines shaped his approach to leadership, one that is grounded in genuine concern for the poor, the marginalized, and those on the periphery of society. Unlike many clergy members who rise through the ranks by virtue of their formal education and ecclesiastical titles, Tagle's approach to leadership was formed through personal engagement with people at the grassroots level. This perspective was formed during his time as the Archbishop of Manila, where he quickly became known for his active involvement in the lives of the city's poorest citizens. Rather than preach from an ivory tower, Tagle sought to understand the struggles of the people he served. His leadership was not confined to the boundaries of the cathedral or the opulent halls of the Archdiocese of Manila. Instead, it was out on the streets, where he listened to the concerns of the poor, visited slums, and spent time in the most disadvantaged communities. His personal commitment to solidarity with the poor earned him the nickname the People's Cardinal, a title that resonated not just in the Philippines, but across the globe. A journey of faith. The Apostolic Visit. Cardinal Tagle's insights into the role of the Catholic Church in a global context were brought into sharp focus during his reflections on Pope Francis's papal travels. In particular, his comments on Pope Francis's apostolic journey to Asia and Oceania were a clear demonstration of his deep understanding of the Church's mission to the peripheries. Pope Francis embarked on this journey, traversing over 40,000 kilometers to reach countries like Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, East Timor, and Singapore. While the sheer magnitude of the journey was impressive, it was the underlying message that Pope Francis was sending that captured the imagination of the global Church. Cardinal Tagle described the Pope's journey not as an effort to break records or prove his physical endurance, but as an act of profound humility and obedience to the divine mission of spreading the gospel. The Pope's decision to focus on these underserved areas was not just a matter of logistical necessity, but an intentional decision to focus on the existential peripheries, those regions of the world where the Church's presence is often sparse, yet where the need for faith and hope is the greatest. Tagle's reflections on this journey revealed his understanding of the Catholic Church as not merely an institution of tradition, but one that is fundamentally engaged with the real-world struggles of individuals and communities. The Pope's mission, as described by Tagle, was to be a visible sign of God's love and mercy to people who have long been ignored by both society and the Church. Cardinal Tagle also pointed out that, contrary to some criticisms, Pope Francis's focus on these regions should not be seen as a neglect of the Western Church. The Holy Father's outreach to Asia, Africa, and other underserved regions is grounded in the belief that the Church's mission must be inclusive, universal, and focused on bringing the message of salvation to all corners of the world. As Tagle stated, the gospel is not limited by borders, and neither should the Church's mission be. The importance of Asia in the global Church. Cardinal Tagle's own experience as an Asian leader in the Catholic Church has shaped his deep understanding of the region's critical role in the Church's future. He often speaks passionately about Asia as not just a geographic region, but as a continent that is home to 2/3 of the world's population. The Church's mission in Asia, Tagle believes, is vital to the future of global Christianity. Despite the fact that Christianity remains a minority religion in many Asian countries, its influence is growing steadily, particularly among young people who are looking for meaning in an increasingly complex and fragmented world. Tagle's thoughts on Asia and its place in the Church's mission reflect a deep theological and socio-political understanding. In countries like the Philippines, Indonesia, and Papua New Guinea, the Catholic Church plays a crucial role not just in matters of faith, but also in issues of social justice, poverty alleviation, and peace building. In these regions, Christianity is not simply a set of beliefs. It is a force that shapes society and brings hope to people who have experienced decades, if not centuries, of hardship. Tagle's appreciation for this reality comes from his own experiences in these countries, where he has seen firsthand how the gospel transforms lives, not just spiritually, but also socially, economically, and politically. During his own travels in the region, Tagle often recalls meeting Christians who, despite being in the minority, display a faith that is vibrant, alive, and deeply rooted in the personal relationship with Jesus Christ. He speaks of communities in Papua New Guinea and East Timor, where Christianity thrives in difficult conditions, as embodying the tenacity of the early church, described in the Acts of the Apostles. These communities serve as models of resilience and hope, and Cardinal Tagle often uses them as examples of how faith can endure, even under the most adverse circumstances. The role of digital media in evangelization. One of Cardinal Tagle's most innovative contributions to the Church's mission is his embrace of digital media. Recognizing the changing dynamics of the modern world, Tagle has been a strong advocate for using technology to make the message of the gospel more accessible and relevant to today's digital-savvy generation. He has pushed for a church that is not only physically present in the streets and communities, but also present in the digital world, where millions of people now gather to exchange ideas, find inspiration, and seek answers to their deepest questions. Tagle's use of social media and digital platforms is not just about promoting church events or disseminating religious content. For him, these tools are vital for reaching people who may not otherwise have access to the message of the gospel. Whether through live-streamed masses, virtual prayer meetings, or online educational initiatives, Tagle believes that digital platforms have the potential to bring the church closer to those who are isolated or living in regions where physical church communities are sparse. His own leadership in the Philippines showed that technology, when used appropriately, can be a powerful tool for evangelization. A visionary partnership, Pope Francis and Cardinal Tagle. Perhaps the most significant relationship in Cardinal Tagle's life has been his collaboration with Pope Francis. Since his appointment as the prefect of the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples, Cardinal Tagle has worked closely with Pope Francis in implementing the vision of a church that is humble, compassionate, and focused on the poor. Their partnership is founded not just on shared theological beliefs, but on a deep personal connection that has grown over the years. The relationship between Pope Francis and Cardinal Tagle is one of mutual respect and shared vision. Pope Francis, who has long championed the idea of a church for the poor, has found in Cardinal Tagle a kindred spirit, someone who understands the importance of reaching out to the marginalized and who embodies the values of humility, compassion, and solidarity. Their collaboration has been instrumental in advancing the Pope's mission of transforming the Church into a more inclusive, outreach-oriented institution. Pope Francis has often spoken of the importance of leaders who are not only intellectuals or administrators, but who are also deeply connected to the people they serve. In Cardinal Tagle, the Pope has found a leader who embodies these values and who can help carry the message of the gospel to the furthest corners of the earth. A church of love, humility, and inclusion, Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle's leadership represents a new era for the Catholic Church, one that is focused on love, humility, and inclusion. His work, alongside Pope Francis, has helped redefine what it means to be a church leader in the modern world. By embracing the challenges of the peripheries, both physically and metaphorically, Tagle has shown that leadership is not about power or prestige, but about service and sacrifice. His unwavering commitment to the mission of spreading the gospel, whether in the streets of Manila or the mountains of Papua New Guinea, has made him one of the most beloved figures in the global church. As the Catholic Church moves forward into an increasingly complex and diverse world, Cardinal Tagle's vision of a church that is not only spiritually present but also socially engaged offers a powerful model for how faith can be a force for positive change in the world. His leadership is a testament to the power of humility, compassion, and the enduring strength of the gospel to transform lives and bring hope to the most vulnerable among us. Faith in the digital era. Bridging gaps through technology. One of Cardinal Tagle's most groundbreaking contributions to the Catholic Church has been his embrace of modern technology as a tool for evangelization. In a world where digital platforms play an essential role in shaping opinions and facilitating communication, Tagle has emerged as a key figure in the Church's efforts to connect with the younger, more digitally savvy generation. He has transformed traditional preaching, using platforms like YouTube and social media to spread messages of hope, love, and spiritual growth. Imagine scrolling through your social media feed on any given day and stumbling upon a video where Cardinal Tagle opens up about his personal faith journey, recounting his own struggles, triumphs, and moments of divine inspiration. His delivery is personal, heartfelt, and stripped of any pretense or formality. It feels less like a sermon and more like a conversation between old friends. Tagle's ability to engage with people on a deeply personal level, whether they are devout believers or curious seekers, has made him an authentic voice for the Church in the digital era. His online presence isn't just about creating content. It's about cultivating relationships. Tagle's social media exchanges are often filled with genuine, thoughtful interactions that encourage dialogue and understanding. These interactions transcend the barriers of geography, language, and culture, allowing him to communicate directly with people from all walks of life, no matter where they are in the world. This digital ministry is not merely about preaching. It is about meeting people where they are, listening to their stories, and sharing in their struggles and joys. For Tagle, faith is not meant to be distant or abstract. It is something that should be tangible, accessible, and deeply personal. His online sermons and posts serve as a reminder that spirituality doesn't need to be confined to the physical space of a church. It can flourish in the hearts of individuals anywhere, anytime. Whether in a rural village in the Philippines or a bustling metropolis like New York, Cardinal Tagle's message of compassion and hope resonates across boundaries. The Church as a global family, breaking down barriers. Cardinal Tagle's vision for the Church is not one that confines itself to the walls of a grand cathedral or the corridors of the Vatican. Rather, he sees the Church as a global family, one that is united not by rigid doctrines or lofty hierarchies, but by a shared commitment to love, service, and solidarity. Tagle is not interested in maintaining the status quo or simply preserving the Church's traditional structures. Instead, he believes in creating a church that is open, welcoming, and engaged with the world in all its complexity. One of the key elements of his leadership is his ability to bridge divides, whether they be cultural, geographical, or ideological. Tagle understands that the Church's mission is not simply to spread religious teachings, but to foster unity and healing in a fragmented world. In his eyes, the Vatican is not an ivory tower isolated from the realities of the world. Rather, it should be a global hub that connects people across continents and cultures. This vision is in stark contrast to the more insular, hierarchical models of church leadership that have dominated in the past. Tagle's pastoral approach to leadership is centered around listening, truly listening, to the stories of others. In a world where people are often quick to speak but slow to hear, Tagle exemplifies the importance of active listening, of understanding the needs, hopes, and concerns of others. This approach has earned him widespread respect not just within the Church, but in broader society as well. People from all walks of life, whether they share his faith or not, are drawn to his sincerity, his compassion, and his humility. Humility as a leadership virtue, serving the poor and marginalized. Throughout his career, Cardinal Tagle has consistently focused on the importance of serving the poor, the oppressed, and the marginalized. This commitment is not just a personal value for him. It is deeply embedded in his understanding of what it means to be a Christian and a leader. His approach to service is not about providing charity in a way that makes one feel superior, but about recognizing the inherent dignity of each individual, particularly those who have been forgotten or overlooked by society. Tagle's leadership in the wake of natural disasters has been particularly notable. One of the most powerful examples of his commitment to the marginalized came after Typhoon Haiyan struck the Philippines in 2013. Rather than simply offering prayers or symbolic gestures, Tagle took immediate action, coordinating relief efforts, visiting affected areas, and personally providing support to those who had lost everything. This wasn't just a temporary act of charity, it was a demonstration of his lifelong commitment to social justice. Tagle's approach to addressing poverty and inequality goes beyond just offering temporary solutions. He is deeply concerned with the structural causes of poverty and social injustice. For him, the church's role is not just to provide charity, but to advocate for long-term change. His leadership is characterized by a desire to create a world in which everyone has access to dignity, opportunity, and justice, and in which the voices of the most vulnerable are amplified. A new vision for the Catholic Church. Reform and inclusivity. Cardinal Tagle is often hailed as a reformer within the Catholic Church. His leadership stands in stark contrast to the more conservative factions within the Church that resist change. While some members of the hierarchy are wary of reform, Tagle has been unwavering in his belief that the Church must evolve to meet the needs of the modern world. One of the key aspects of his reform agenda is his emphasis on inclusivity. In Tagle's view, the Church should be a place where everyone feels welcome, regardless of their background, ethnicity, gender, or sexual orientation. This inclusive approach has been particularly evident in his efforts to address the role of women in the Church. While the Catholic Church has traditionally been male-dominated, Tagle has advocated for greater representation of women in leadership roles and for a more equitable approach to decision-making. Tagle has also been a vocal advocate for interfaith dialogue, recognizing that in an increasingly interconnected world, the Church must engage with people of different faiths and belief systems. He has called for greater understanding between Catholics and people of other religions, particularly in regions where religious tensions have caused division and violence. For Tagle, dialogue is not just about finding common ground, it is about building relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. The competition for the papacy. Cardinal Tagle versus Cardinal Parolin. As speculation about Pope Francis's successor continues, Cardinal Tagle's name has consistently surfaced as a leading contender for the papacy. However, he is not the only one vying for the role. Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Vatican Secretary of State, is another prominent figure who is often mentioned as a potential successor. While Cardinal Tagle is known for his progressive, people-centered leadership style, Cardinal Parolin represents a more conservative approach. Parolin, an Italian diplomat, has spent much of his career navigating the complex geopolitical terrain of the Vatican and managing the Church's diplomatic relationships. His approach to leadership is more focused on maintaining the Church's traditional values and navigating the intricate politics of the Vatican. The competition between Tagle and Parolin highlights the ongoing tension within the Church between the need for reform and the desire to preserve tradition. Tagle's emphasis on inclusivity, compassion, and social justice is in stark contrast to Parolin's more cautious and measured approach. As the Church faces unprecedented challenges in a rapidly changing world, the choice of the next pope will have profound implications for the direction of the Church in the years to come. The future of the Church. Cardinal Tagle's vision for global, inclusive faith. Looking toward the future, Cardinal Tagle envisions a Catholic Church that is truly global and inclusive, a church that celebrates diversity, embraces modern technology, and is deeply committed to social justice. He sees a church that not only preaches faith, but also exemplifies it in every aspect of its existence. Whether in Manila, Lagos, or Bogota, Tagle imagines a church that connects people from all corners of the globe, a church that is as diverse as the world itself. At the heart of Tagle's vision is the belief that the Church must be a force for good in the world. He envisions a church that addresses the root causes of inequality, fights for justice, and serves as a voice for the voiceless. In his view, the future of the Church lies in its ability to adapt to the needs of the modern world while remaining rooted in its foundational principles of love, compassion, and service. Cardinal Tagle's leadership is poised to shape the future of the Catholic Church. His commitment to reform, inclusivity, and social justice will undoubtedly continue to resonate with Catholics around the world. As the Church faces the challenges of a rapidly changing world, Cardinal Tagle stands ready to guide it toward a future of hope, unity, and compassion.